They told me there was that team. They told me they was that squad. What's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And good morning to you if you're watching this live. We're doing this on what is this, Tuesday? Is it Tuesday? Tuesday morning. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. Hope everybody is having a good morning so far. If you are traveling out of town, I know this is normally the day that people travel, especially go to family members' homes for Thanksgiving. Do it normally Tuesday or Wednesday. So if you're on the highway and you're listening to this, hopefully I don't disappoint you. And I hope you have safe travels, okay? And I hope everybody is having a good Thanksgiving holiday, preparation day. I know there's a lot of things going on, but let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, okay? Let's go ahead and talk about this. Now, I know what the title of the show is. So, okay, folks, so check this out, okay? I put a scheduler on here, right? So, when I put a title up, it's normally, probably a couple hours in advance, probably even a day in advance. So I know the title says, what have we learned from the Week 11 game versus the Falcons for the Saints? And we're going to get to that. But we got to address the elephant in the room. We got to address what everybody wants to talk about. That's right. We got to talk about that squad, that team, the team that everybody has been talking about, the team that is supposed to dethrone the New Orleans Saints from the NFC South, the squad that is supposed to be in the Super Bowl, the squad that is supposed to be the first team in NFL history to host a Super Bowl in a home stadium, the squad that have arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, the squad that has the embarrassment of riches, and yet again, on primetime television, they cannot get the job done. I'm talking about the underachieving, over-deliver, underselling Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know what, Who Dat Nation? I had a little while to think about what I wanted to say. Some of you probably already know where I'm going if you've been following me on social media. State of Saints, by the way. You can follow me on Twitter. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have more excuses than a little bit. They have more excuses than a fourth grader without their homework. They have more excuses than a deadbeat who doesn't see his children. They have more excuses than I don't want to go there, but they have a lot of excuses out there. Every single week, Tampa come through with the excuses. Week 1, the Saints beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What did we hear? Oh, well, this is our preseason. The Saints been together longer than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is our preseason game. We have to learn how to mesh. That's the word. That's the word right there. Mesh. Okay. I don't think a guy who has ski dogs says mesh more than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay. When a guy is on a ski and he got his snow dog, he got his huskies, he said mesh. I don't think he says mesh more than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans always talking about mesh this, mesh that. Wait till after week 1. The Saints got us this time, but what about the next time? Then they start winning a couple games, and they're like, oh, man, we on top. I told y'all we was coming. Then all of a sudden, they just start signing folks, and they just start talking mad greasy. And I'm wondering to myself, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. Where they coming from? You know what I'm saying? I got the binoculars on because I'm looking, and I'm seeing Tampa Bay fans coming from far and wide, from here, there, and everywhere, like a Dr. Seuss book. I'm like, where they come from? So they just start infiltrating NFC South pages, NFC pages, talking about it's our time. The Saints is up. It's over with. It's finito, kaput. This is what I was hearing. And I'm like, am I missing something? I'm telling them. I'm like, just because you buy players for $99.95, you picked up a coupon that got you Antonio Brown. It does not mean that you guys are going to win the division. But did that stop Tampa Bay fans? No, of course not, because they're so excited and they've been holding on to this excitement since 2007. They've been breathing it in. They've been holding it in. You cannot control them. They start jumping out of the window. All of a sudden, they lose to Chicago. Well, what happened was Tom Brady, the offensive line, our left tackle, he young, he got to grow. Our right tackle, okay, cool, whatever. They start winning some more games. Then they start jumping out the window some more. They start beating teams that the Saints lost to. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Packers. And they really was talking greasy. I'm like, come on, what are you doing? I'm like, just because y'all beat the Packers and the Raiders don't mean nothing. We ready for y'all. We ready for y'all. They signed Antonio Brown. You couldn't tell these folks nothing. They signed Antonio Brown. It's over with. It's over with. They start looking at the press clippings. They start looking at Speak for Yourself. They start looking at Undisputed and First Take. And they started to buy the hype. But they didn't know something that we knew, Who Dat Nation. They didn't know that you actually have to play the games. We're not playing Madden. But they still thought week nine, all on a podcast, all on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers podcast. Other podcasters that I know talking to me, mad greasy. Once again, man, we got y'all week 9. This is our division. And what happened in front of a nationally televised audience, Who Dat Nation? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers get shellacked by the New Orleans Saints. But did that stop Tampa Bay from realizing that, hell, maybe this team isn't all it cracked up to be? Maybe the media is blowing this a little bit out of proportion. Did that stop them? Nope. What was their excuse then? Well, we just got Antonio Brown. So I'm asking you, Who Dat Nation, if we had to wait after week 1, if we had to wait to Gronk get into football shape, if we had to wait for Chris Godwin to come back from his finger injury, if we had to wait for the offensive line to click, if we had to wait for Leonard Fournette to finally be in an offensive rotation, if we had to wait for Antonio Brown to learn the offense and have chemistry with Tom Brady, somebody please tell me, how long do we have to wait? Somebody please tell me that. You know what I'm saying? Martin Luther King wrote a book called Why We Can't Wait. You know what I'm saying? Sleepy Brown wrote a song says, I can't wait. I am waiting, folks. I'm like sitting at the bus stop waiting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to show up. What Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to show up? When is this super team that everybody's talking about going to show the hell up? Somebody please tell me that. I'm about to tell Tampa Bay fans loud and clear. Y'all are better than y'all have been over the last few years. I think we all can agree. We all can agree that Tampa Bay is a much better team. But I'm telling you right now, and I'm about to tell you something that you need to hear. You hear it first right here on the State of the Saints podcast. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not that good. They're not. They're not that good. They are not that good. They are not the upper echelon of the NFC. They are not a Seahawks team that has Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. They are not a Rams team with Sean McVay and Jared Goff. They are not even in the same room when it comes to the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints just won a game. The Saints just won a game with a backup quarterback that has mostly played read options throughout his entire career. If Tom Brady, this is how you know you have a good team. If Tom Brady is to get hurt from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they ain't going nowhere, period. Great teams know how to adjust. Great teams don't make excuses. Great teams make it happen. When the Saints didn't have Emmanuel Sanders, they didn't have Michael Thomas, they don't have Drew Brees, they made adjustments. When the Saints didn't have Janoris Jenkins, Marshawn Lattimore, they made adjustments. That separates the good from the great. And you cannot buy greatness. You can't buy chemistry. You can't buy brotherhood. And you damn sure can't buy championships. Tampa, congratulations. You have entered the land of relevancy. But that's where it ends. That's where it all ends. It is over. It is over, okay? Y'all going to make the playoffs, but y'all are going to run into a team with a pass rush. Y'all cannot protect Tom Brady. Whatever team comes through that has a pass rush or an above average quarterback, you all are going to lose to him. It's just as simple as that. You cannot play zone defense against an above average quarterback. If you do that to Russell Wilson, he is going to pick you apart. If you do that to Drew Brees, he's proven he's going to pick you apart. Jared Goff pick you apart. Tampa, it's better for you to hear from me. It's not going to happen, folks. It's not going to happen. Please, pretty please, listen to your boy. You are not that good. It's just that simple. Above average. Average even. You know what I'm saying? On a certain Sunday, he might even play great. But that's as far as it goes. It's just as far as it goes. Bruce Arians, I even give you another hot take. You will never win a Super Bowl with Bruce Arians as your head coach. Bruce Arians has arguably the greatest quarterback of all time looking like straight slaw because he is so arrogant. He is so petty that he wants this praise that he can't even adjust his offense to suit a 6-time Super Bowl winning quarterback. Trust and believe, folks. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad this didn't happen, but I'm just going to call it for what it is, and then I'm going to answer some questions. If Tom Brady would have came to the New Orleans Saints, if Drew Brees would have retired, and they said the Saints were thinking about getting Tom Brady, I guarantee you that Tom Brady would be in an MVP conversation because Sean Payton is smart enough to run his offense based on the strengths of his quarterbacks. And he doesn't ask the quarterbacks to do something that is outside of their norm. Bruce Arians turns some of the most above average quarterbacks to pretty much below average. And as long as he's your coach, I hope, I'm praying, keep Bruce Arians. Please keep him because y'all never win nothing with him. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's get to the questions here. I want to thank everybody for being a part of the show, being a part of the chat. Let's see. Let me start with Kent. Kent says, signs of a good team. Exactly, Kent. I don't want to hear anything. You know, see, that's how Tampa, honestly, that's how you know Tampa Bay don't know nothing about football. Tampa Bay fans know absolutely nothing about football because they really feel like great teams are defined by their players. That's halfway true. That's halfway true. Great teams is a combination of players and coaches. So when they come on there and they see stuff like Drew Brees not playing or Michael Thomas not playing, they start getting excited and giddy because they feel like, the Saints are nothing but Michael Thomas, and that's it. They're nothing but Drew Brees, and that's it. That's what they think, because they've seen that for so many years. If Jameis Winston out the lineup, then there's a drop-off. If Ronald Jones was out of the lineup, it's a drop-off. If Mike Evans was out of the lineup, it's an L. But the Saints know how to adjust. That's the recipe of a great team. And that's why the reason they're not. Because they rely on one or two players, and when those one or two players are not in the lineup, they don't know how to adjust. So that's the reason why, like I said, I hope they keep Bruce Arians. Keep him. They can keep him post Drew Brees, and the Saints will still be in playoff contention. Because Bruce Arians is too arrogant, too cocky for him to get out of his own way and humble himself and sit down with Tom and be like, look, what we doing ain't working. But he'll never do that because he want all the praise. Smash up them like fans. Man, I'm just telling the truth. I'm just telling the truth today. Look, I'm just being real, man. They're not that good. They're not that good. And I'm not even saying it. I'm not even saying that. Like, I'm telling you, folks. I promise you, I'm telling you the God honest truth. Tampa Bay has never scared me as a team. They have never scared me as a team. I didn't buy into it in the first place. I never bought into these dudes. Never bought into them. The Bucks straight up trash. 2-game lead. Who that? I don't want to say they trash. Twin, I don't want to say they trash. I'll give them credit. They're better than they once were. I'll give them credit for that. But they're not as good as everybody trying to make them out to be. To me, they're the Browns. Like, seriously, they're the Browns. Like how the Browns had Odell and Jarvis Landry, and you got Njoku, and they got Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Like, that's what they are. They're the Browns. Okay? The Browns will give you a Sunday where they just look incredible. And then they'll give you another Sunday where they just look like slaw. Like, they're inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see on one week they're scoring 46 points. The next week they're getting beat by 3 or 4 touchdowns. That's not a good football team. That's not. Answer me this, man. You probably could count on one hand how many times the Saints got blew out of a football game in the last 3 seasons. And the only one I can think of right off the bat, in my humble opinion, is the Atlanta Falcons game, where it just didn't seem like the Saints just, no matter what they did, they just were getting dominated. You know why the Saints don't get blew out? Because they're a good football team. They're a well-coached football team. Sean Payton, how many times have we seen in the first half the Saints do something, it don't work. Second half, they come out there looking like world beaters because Sean Payton knows how to adjust. His coaching staff knows how to adjust. Bruce Arians, I just feel like he just runs his plays, no matter if they didn't work in the first half, he's going to run them in the second half. He's going to run them until they make them work. Once again, keep Bruce Arians. Keep him as long as you want to. As long as y'all want. Please do. Because you ain't winning nothing with him. You're not. I wish they saved Bucks versus Rams for Thanksgiving. Well, I mean, it still was on national TV, so, Panthers fans are the good fans to the Saints. Look, man, I ain't got nothing against the Panthers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I want them to lose when we play them, but being in South Carolina, and I stay about 3 hours from Charlotte, I see my fair share of Panthers fans. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, every Panther fan I roll into, they got this team loyalty, but it's not like so reckless or whatever. Even when they were winning, even when they were like Super Bowl contenders and they went to the Super Bowl, they weren't like, just aggravating, you know what I'm saying, to a point where they just get on your nerves. Like, Falcon fans and Bucks fans, I'm like, look, like, what have y'all done? Like, seriously, what have y'all done? I don't know. Unapologetic TJ, unapologetic Saints are miles ahead of Tampa. Yeah, it's just the truth. It's just the truth. I just want people to understand that it's way beyond just team loyalty at this point. The Saints are leaps and bounds better than every team in the NFC South. And I know it makes them mad. I get it. If the Falcons were like leaps and bounds better than the Saints, it would tick me off too. The Saints are just better. The Saints are like better in every single way. Every way. You know what I'm saying? Like every single way, they are better. Now, on paper, Tampa looks great. But the Saints are just, man, they better coached. They got more discipline. You know what I'm saying? Like the players are more hungry. They've been battle tested. It's like they just better. That just comes with time. And like I said, I know people get mad at us for saying this, but it's the truth. Like the only thing the other NFC South teams can do. This is the truth, Saints fans. This is the truth. I know we gonna talk about the Week 11 game. I promise you, folks. But this is just the truth. Okay, the only thing the NFC South fans can do is wait on the Saints to fail. Because they cannot do anything about the Saints at all. They got to wait for the Saints to slip up or trip up in order for them to say anything. It hurts them to their soul that they can't come after a game where we play them and talk noise to us. It hurts them. It hurts them that they just want to talk so much noise and they just want to be competitive so bad. And the Saints go out there and just completely humiliate them, embarrass them, beat them into submission to a point where it's a no type of debate that the Saints are better. And it kills them. The only thing the South can do is just wait on the Saints to fail. Saints, you know what I'm saying? That's why they do it. You know what I'm saying? Every single year. The Saints win a division for the last 3 years. The Saints slip up in the playoffs. Y'all suck. Y'all suck. That's all they can do. That's all they can do. Because they can't get the job done. So they have to hope and wait and pray for another team to come knock off the Saints. Because they can't do it. And they're mad that they can't do it. So they laugh at the Saints' misfortunes because they can't get the job done. I mean, look, the realest fan in the world got to be real about that. If the Falcons were winning all the time, when it all comes down to it, I'm just mad because they're successful and my team not. Looks like it's too late to tank for Trevor Lawrence. I don't think they're going to tank, man. They're gonna make the playoffs, man. I'll give them that. It makes me mad when Brady won't acknowledge the other quarterbacks when he loses, so a loser. Well, that's on him, man. You know, that's on him. Ashley says, why do the Bucs continue to play zone if they are unable to cover? I just don't understand that coaching. I don't understand it either. I don't understand it. Like, if you play an above average quarterback and you play zone, he gonna pick you apart. Like, are you crazy? Like Todd Bowles, God bless him, man. I like Todd Bowles. I really do. Todd Bowles was so afraid of Drew Brees that he refused to blitz him. Yeah, and the thing about it is, you know, the secret was out last season, right? The secret was out. Teams felt that if you put your pass rushers in the middle in an A gap, then you can rush Drew Brees. You can get to Drew Brees with pressure. But then they went out there and they got Cesar Ruiz and they put him next to Eric McCoy. They asked Andrews Pete to drop about 30 pounds. And even the most critical person of Andrews Pete, you got to admit he's playing much better this season. But, you know what I'm saying? They told Andrews to slim down. Now he's faster. They can't. It don't work. It don't work anymore. You know what I'm saying? I know Cesar Ruiz gave up a sack, but I mean, you can count how many times on one hand he gave up a sack this season. So his best days are ahead of him. They can't stop him. I mean, look how much time Taysom Hill had in the pocket. When Taysom Hill got sacked, it's because Taysom Hill didn't want to throw the football. He didn't want to pull the trigger. It wasn't because, the offensive line didn't protect him. So, I mean, the Saints fixed that. So, I mean, where are the weaknesses in this team? Let's see. Bruce Arians got Brady throwing bombs. Like, why don't you run the ball more? You got two running backs, Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones ran for almost 200 yards last week. You know what I'm saying? Like, against the Carolina Panthers. Okay, now one of them was like a long 90-yard touchdown. But nevertheless, if you give these guys opportunities, they're gonna run the football. The dude just too impatient. He's Sean Payton before Sean Payton realized you need to run the football. That's what it is. That's who he is right now. I will say this, you know what I'm saying? Running the football, I know we talk about that, but Sean Payton has been trying to run the football this season. I have seen the Saints try to run the football. Bruce Arians just refused to do so. He just refused to do it. Like, you got two studs back there. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't trust your team. You don't trust his team. But like I said, keep him as your coach, please. Johnny says, yep, you're right, the Browns. I mean, the Browns got all that talent. What they got to show for it? You know? Coaching matters, man. Coaching matters, folks. You can have so many names on a marquee, but if you ain't got the right coach, you ain't winning nothing. You ain't winning nothing. Emerson says if they want to win, they're going to need to fire Bruce. But like you said, keep him. Yeah, he's the problem. Bruce Arians is the problem. He's the reason why the Bucs aren't going to be successful. It's not Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't Jameis Winston. It's not the talent. It's pretty obvious it's not. It's the coaching. It's him. That's why they got rid of him in Arizona. Yep. He want to do things his way. I'm telling you, man, if they want to win the division, they're going to have to get another coach. He ain't the answer. Make sure you check those balls that Tom Brady is throwing. Well, I mean, they look like they're pretty inflated to me. I mean, the only thing deflated is his football game. I mean, is his football play. That's the only thing deflated. Teddy doing a great job for the Panthers. Proud of him. Yeah, he really is, man. And I think it's just the fact that they actually run offense similar to the Saints. You know, I'm just tired of watching people just give Tampa Bay excuses. Sometimes you just got to look and just say, you know what? I gave a hot take. I really thought that this team was going to, be something, looking at all the weapons, looking at all the talent, but I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Dan Orlovsky, you know what I'm saying? Like he admitted he was wrong. You know what I'm saying? I gave him a shout out and stuff like that on it. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the truth. Like it's okay to be wrong. I feel like the longer you double down, the more stupid you look. And then you just become so stubborn, you know what I'm saying? Where you just, like they say, too real for yourself. Like, it's okay to be wrong. I can't tell you how many times I was wrong. I was wrong on this show. Like, so many times. Like, ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, you look at something, you give your opinion. Sometimes you're going to hit, sometimes you're going to miss. But when you keep doubling down, and you just make yourself look even worse. And then that's when your credibility really, becomes an issue. Because it's like you just want to, you know what I'm saying? You just want to give hot takes. And I just feel like that's coming from a disingenuous place. And people going to find that out. Ramsey says, by the way, TJ, have you seen Joe Burrow's season injury? I feel bad for Joe Burrow. Bless that. Yeah, I seen it. It's unfortunate. Joe Burrow was playing really good. He's a tough guy, tough kid. Man, his best football is ahead of him. But Cincinnati, they're gonna have to fix that offensive line, man. They're gonna get that guy killed. And right now, like this, that old saying, he full of pea and vinegar. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what the pea is, what I'm talking about. And he's about being a tough guy right now. So sometimes you got to protect these young quarterbacks from themselves. But if Cincinnati gets themselves an offensive line, they protect him. You got Joe Mixon, you got Geno Bernard. You can run a football, and you got T. Higgins out there. He looking like he was a sure thing. I think that they can actually be a force. I really do. I think they can be a force, but they just got to get that offensive line straight. They're gonna get this guy killed, man. It'll be sad. You know what I'm saying? You finally got a guy that can legitimately be the face of your franchise, that wants to be there, that wants to change the narrative, that has embraced that. You got to make sure that you put the right pieces around him, And honestly, man, you probably I feel like if they probably would have kept Marvin Lewis with Joe Burrow, he probably would have been a quarterback to get them over the hump. I mean, that's just my opinion right there. I think if they would have kept Marvin Lewis, drafted Joe Burrow, I think he would have been an answer. Because ever since Marvin Lewis left, I mean, the Bengals have looked very 94-ish, 95-ish. You know what I'm saying? Like when it was really out there with Achilles Smith and them, with Jeff Blake and all them other cats, they just look horrible, even with Marvin Lewis. I mean, the narrative was he couldn't win a playoff game, but hey, you can't win a playoff game if you don't go to the playoffs. So I think that if they would have kept Marvin and they would have had Joe Burrow, I think you probably would have seen Cincinnati win a playoff game, at least a playoff game. The media was very disgusting yesterday, calling Taysom Hill Tim Tebow and was saying he's going to fail. The media wants us to fail so bad. Yeah, because it's the truth. I need y'all. I want to introduce y'all to what we call narratives, right? There are certain narratives that teams have, right? That the media has about teams, right? You got the Cleveland Browns, who the narrative is, they only really talk about Cleveland when they play bad. If y'all ever noticed that, you don't never really see them talking about Cleveland when they do something good. Like when Baker Mayfield has been screwing it up, that's when you start to notice, like, that they talk about him. You know what I'm saying? When the Browns lose, what's wrong with the Browns? They got all this talent. What's wrong with the Browns? But when they win, nobody say anything about it, right? When the Cowboys lose mostly, you know what I'm saying, because they do a lot of losing, they get more segments because somebody in the media has found out that bad news is better than good news, right? It's easier. It's basically we're in love with a car crash. We love a car crash. We like to see a car crash. And, we can't take our eyes off of it, because, I mean, it's a crash. It's a wreck right in front of our eyes. So we're so focused on that. So they don't focus on the positive things. They don't want to talk about the Saints. They don't want to talk about how good the Saints are, because if you talk about how good the Saints are, it's like you're saying that, the Saints are better than Tampa. And that's a big no-no, because the media wants to talk about Tom Brady. If you notice, if Drew Brees goes out there and he throws for 230 some odd yards, right? And he's like completely efficient. Drew Brees right now is completing 74% of his passes right before his injury. They make it seem like anybody can just throw for 74%, right? And if you look at Tom Brady isn't as efficient as Drew Brees, but they elevate him. Notice that. Notice they elevate Tom Brady and they discredit Drew Brees. It's just the truth, because they don't want Drew Brees to be right here with Tom Brady. They don't. So they elevate Tom Brady, good, bad, or indifferent. But if Drew Brees goes out there, fumbles a football, Drew Brees goes out there, throw an interception, then they amplify, that situation. Oh, he old. He don't have it anymore. He looked like he washed up. But with Tom Brady, the offensive line is not together. The running game wasn't there. The wide receivers weren't catching the ball. They weren't helping Tom. That's what they do. Because, in order for you to elevate Drew Brees, you will have to discredit Tom Brady. And they don't want to do that. TJ, I disagree about Marvin Lewis. 13 years as a head coach and 7 playoff appearances, 0-7. He overstayed his welcome. Reggie, well, okay. Reggie, let me go ahead and, debate you on this one right here. And you're entitled to your opinion, Reggie. You make a very interesting point there. But who are we comparing them to? Number one, okay? Before Marvin Lewis, who did they have, right? Who did they have before Marvin Lewis? Nobody even really heard or talked about the Cincinnati Bengals. When Marvin Lewis was there, he had Carson Palmer, right? Now, Carson Palmer and the Cincinnati Bengals went up against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoff game. Cincinnati was winning that game, and most likely they would have won that game. They would have won, no doubt about it. But Carson Palmer ended up tearing his ACL. John Kitna comes into the game. All of a sudden, just everything just goes haywire. Then Carson Palmer gets into it with the Brown family, and all of a sudden he doesn't want to be there anymore. And then there's a drop off, and then you have Andy Dalton, and I think we all can agree that Andy Dalton is not that guy. Okay, if we talk about not ready for prime time, okay, I often used to say on the State of Sage podcast, if you go back, there's 12 o'clock Andy, and then there's 4:15 Andy. Okay, 12 o'clock Andy will get you about 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. 4:15 Andy Dalton will get you the opposite. 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Okay, so I just feel like it was a combination of that. I feel like the quarterback position, you got to be fearless. There is no way in the world I would believe that if Marvin Lewis had Joe Burrow as his quarterback, if he was the coach, that the Cincinnati Bengals wouldn't won a playoff game. I fail to believe that. There's something, I think we all can agree, and we've been having these debates about Joe Burrow, and I don't feel bad about talking about the Bengals because we all love Joe Burrow for what he did at LSU. Everybody that watched LSU will tell you there is something different about Joe Burrow. That guy is a gamer. He tough. He has amnesia when it comes to him turning the ball over or making a mistake. He goes harder when he makes a mistake. So just on his talent, his intangibles alone, Cincinnati would have won a playoff game. Straight up, man. Straight up. That's the way I honestly feel about it. I really feel that way. Just off his talent alone. But I mean, hindsight is 20/20, man. If was the fifth, we all would be drunk. So Reggie, I mean, wishful thinking. What's the difference between Lamar's first start and Taysom? It's all about narrative, pretty much. Look, man, if we thought that Taysom Hill was gonna come out here 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and all that kind of stuff, man, I didn't expect it, and that's the reason why. Like I don't feel like anybody needs to go into anything with high expectations. I really, if you're talking about a quarterback, a new quarterback in the system, it's best for you to be, just kind of centered. Got to be centered, because if your expectations up here, and if they play bad, then all of a sudden they just automatically drop. If they're down here and they play well, then they're gonna go way up here. Like now you have people that was talking about Taysom. Oh, he the future. He's Drew Brees' successor. Like, whoa. Pump your brakes. It's only one game. We'll see as time goes on. Now that he's played in a real NFL game, teams are going to see him on film now. They're going to understand his tendencies. They're going to find out ways to scheme him, and then we can see where it goes. But as of right now, I'm reserving my judgment, and I think every member of the Who Dat Nation should as well. I mean, we're proud of him. We're happy that his first start was pretty good. There's room to grow, room to improve, of course. But, I mean, I'm not sitting up here saying, we about to win multiple Super Bowls and Taysom Hill the future. I can't say that right now. But I will say he played really well. I will say he played pretty well, and I think everybody would probably agree with that. Bro just got the it factor, man. You're right. Yeah. Some people got it, some people don't, man. Like, I mean, Patrick Mahomes has the it factor. Russell Wilson has the it factor. I mean, it goes without saying, Drew Brees has the it factor. It's certain things about guys. Kyler Murray has it, from what I see. As long as these guys are in the game, you got a shot. Okay. I mean, look, I don't care if it's the fourth quarter, the Saints are beating the Seattle Seahawks 28-7. If they got 9 minutes on the clock, I'm scared to death. I'm serious, man. That's how much respect I have for Russell Wilson. If you look at somebody like Kyler Murray, those guys are ballers, gamers, man. It's something that can't be taught. It's something you're born with. It's something you're born with. It's something you cannot learn how to have it. Nobody can teach you how to have it. It's something that you're born with. It's something you're born with. It's something about a person that makes another person want to run through a wall for him, and everybody can't do it. But with Joe Burrow, I believe that. And as he becomes a seasoned veteran in the league, I think his teammates gonna have the same type of respect that Drew Brees' teammates have for him. Y'all seen when Drew Brees played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after that game? Y'all seen Jameis coming up to the camera, G.J. Swearinger, Cam Jordan, talking about, man, it's the real GOAT right here. You earn it. You earn that type of credibility with your teammates. Reggie says, TJ, big bro, we going to have to agree to disagree. Marvin didn't do nada in 13 years. I don't want to say he didn't do nada. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. If you want to say he didn't win a playoff game, fine. But to say that he didn't do nada, as trash as the Bengals were, like, look, we got to be real. Two teams that were stinking it up in the 90s were the Saints and the Bengals. And when I seen the Saints play the Bengals in the 90s, the Bengals beat the Saints. I mean, it was bad. It was bad, folks. It was bad. All right? The Cincinnati Bengals were horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Okay? One of them teams where if you look at the schedule, you already know you was about to win. Marvin Lewis was a good coach to that franchise. And even though he didn't win a playoff game, I guarantee you he gonna be up there, you know what I'm saying, as one of the best coaches that ever, coached that team. So, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, we'll agree to disagree, but I can't say that he didn't do nada. I mean, to say that he didn't make a playoff, yeah. I mean, win a playoff game, yeah, but to say that he didn't do nada, that's a strong statement. Jerome says, I agree, A.J. Green got his first touchdown with Joe B since 2018. Well, A.J. Green was trying to save himself, man, because he thought, well, maybe I can get myself up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe, but Cincinnati don't like trading players. They don't like releasing players. Man, I don't get it, man. If a player don't want to play for you no more, just let him go. Okay? Try to get some draft capital for him. If you can't, then just release him. Okay? I don't feel like a player need to get the Marcus Allen treatment. Those that probably football historians, you know what I'm talking about, how Al Davis set Marcus Allen on the bench and didn't want to play him. I don't know what was up with that, but, he basically allowed Marcus Allen to waste away till he finally left and went to the Kansas City Chiefs. And honestly, if he didn't go to Kansas City, I don't know if Marcus Allen would be in the Hall of Fame. So I don't want to see players like that, man. If they don't want to be in a place, let them go. I don't care how good they are. You can't force a player to play for you, okay? And honestly, at that particular time, they don't want to play for you. If you paying them, I mean, if they got any type of respect for themselves, it'll hurt them. But I don't feel like you need to make a player suffer just because they want to go somewhere to win. Like how can for example, how can the Texans get mad at J.J. Watt? If J.J. Watt goes to the front office and say, man, y'all need to trade me, let me go. You know what I'm saying? I've given you 10 years of service. You know what I'm saying? I gave you credibility. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've done all these different things. Like, just let the guy go. You know what I'm saying? He earned the right for him to be like, you know what, man, let me go ahead and see what we can do for you. Allow a guy to write his own narrative, man. Can you imagine, like, these last couple of years with A.J. Green, he could have been somewhere else, probably with a playoff contender, and he probably could have been solidifying himself for a shot at the Hall of Fame. I mean, A.J. Green has been really good for the Cincinnati Bengals over his career, and I think maybe a Super Bowl championship can kind of push him further in the Hall of Fame, a couple good years in the Super Bowl ring. I mean, he may not be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but, he might miss a few Hall of Fame opportunities, but he end up in there, eventually. Your boy Jay says, it was a blessing in disguise that the Saints didn't get clowned, dude. Really stealing so much money from the Titans, no sack, and can't stay on the field. Yeah, man, we definitely dodged the bullet with that. Those that have been following the State of Saints podcast, man, I've never been sold on Jadeveon Clowney. It was just something about him, man. It's two players in the NFL that I question their toughness and I question, their ability or their want to be great. And that's Ndamukong Suh and Jadeveon Clowney. I always question a guy that has all the tools to be great, all the talent in the world, and, they don't utilize it. I question that. I question that. So those are two players right off the top. Like even when the Saints were trying to get in Ndamukong Suh, when he was choosing between the Rams and I think the Saints, he ended up going to the Rams. I mean, I didn't even want him here then. I didn't want Suh, like I don't know, man. It's just certain players. Like I understand how good they are, how good they can be, and how dominant they were. Like I watched Ndamukong Suh's entire career. Like when he was at Nebraska, man, I've seen this dude like completely destroy the Oklahoma offense by itself. Okay, like they could not stop this guy in the Big 12 championship game. And I watched them go to the Lions and get all that money, and it just seemed like he just phoned it in, and he was just okay with just being average. Can you imagine like there's no excuse why Ndamukong Suh isn't looked at like we look at Aaron Donald. Like there's no excuse why Jadeveon Clowney shouldn't be looked at like his former teammate J.J. Watt. They have all the talent in the world, the ability. They can go out there, excuse my French, and half-ass it and still do enough to make the Hall of Fame. So imagine if they put their heart, their soul, and their mind and everything they have into it to be great. Because I question the fact if they want to be great or not. I think they want to make money. You know what I'm saying? I think all players want to make money, but do you want to be great? I don't know that. I don't know that about those two guys. I really don't. Facts. Look at Tag McKinley. I don't know what. I don't know, man. Tag McKinley. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, he never lived up to the hype. Never. He can't even pass a physical, which is sad. I would say that the number one seed won't really matter if the NFL decides to keep where it's at now. It definitely will matter. Well, Mike, I don't feel like the number one seed matters this year. Yeah, you get a first round bye, but due to COVID-19 and these stadium and dome restrictions, I mean, what you gonna have 6,000 people at a divisional round game? I don't think they're gonna play a role. I really don't. Now, if this was like a season like every other season, and it was packed, you know what I'm saying, and a whole bunch of people were in the stadium, then you know what I'm saying, then I'll be like, okay, it's a big deal. But a team comes on the road, as long as they discipline, they can beat you because they ain't got to worry about crowd noise. I mean, look at the game against the Green Bay Packers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was doing a snap count and having the Saints jump off sides at a home game for the Saints. So I'm like, come on, man. Like, how much does home field advantage really matter this season? I mean, from a bye, you know what I'm saying? The fact that you get a bye, if you look at it that way, cool. But I don't feel, you know what I'm saying? I don't think if the Saints become a number one seed, they can't go on the road, travel to Green Bay and beat the Packers. I don't feel like if they have to go up to Seattle, they can't beat Seattle in an empty stadium. I mean, because I think the Saints are better than Seattle. I think they're better than Green Bay. So I don't think it too much matters. I mean, that's just me. Like, home field advantage, I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's what all teams should aspire to be and do. You know what I'm saying? Be the number one seed because that means you won your division. And that's like the first goal for every team, to win a division, right? So if you win the division, have the top record in NFC, I mean, it's just icing on a cake. But it's not how it was, in recent years. If you had the number one seed, then, I mean, that'll be something, but not in a COVID year like it's been this year. I can't believe Saints fans were rooting for the Rams last night. Y'all might see them again in the playoffs. Look, you root for the team that's going up against your rival. I don't know, man. I don't hate the Rams. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sitting up here hating on the Rams. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the Rams' fault that the referees didn't call pass interference. I mean, Nickel Roby-Coleman would just realize that he screwed up, and he went over there and just knocked out Tommy Lee Lewis. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just was trying to make a play. You know what I'm saying? He was just trying to do the best that he can to try to stop him from getting the ball. It was the referee's fault. The Rams are a good football team. You know what I'm saying? Anytime they play the Saints, they always play them tough. The Saints have not beaten the Rams, you know what I'm saying, in a while. I don't want to say a while because they beat them 2018, am I mistaken? They beat them in 2018. So, I mean, it's always interesting. They both have really good offensive-minded coaches. Both defenses are playing really well. It ought to be a good football game, But this is the thing, I'm not like, I don't watch the schedule like some other teams and just be like, ooh, I hope I don't play them. Look, if you're the best, it shouldn't matter. Shouldn't matter who you play. I don't like that mind frame. I don't like, ooh, man, I don't want to play them. I don't want to play them. Like, look, if the Vikings end up making a playoff, look, bring on the Vikings. I don't care. Like, if Green Bay end up making a playoff, bring on the Packers. If we got to play the Rams, bring on the Rams. Right? If you're the best, if you that team, if you that squad, like they said Tampa is, then it shouldn't matter who you play. I don't care about that. So if we got to play the Rams in the playoffs, bring on the Rams, okay? Hope the Saints ready. You can't just be around this thing, tiptoeing through the tulips, you know what I'm saying, and trying to, get away from the raindrops. It don't work like that, okay? Put up or shut up. The crowd not being there hurts my Baltimore Ravens, Derrick Henry, too. Look, Jules, look, Derrick Henry just got y'all a number, man. Derrick Henry just got y'all numbers. There are certain squads that you go up against that you just don't match up well against. When it comes to like the Minnesota Vikings, I just feel like the Saints don't really match up well against the Minnesota Vikings because I think it has a lot to do with Mike Zimmer and Sean Payton's relationship, and Mike Zimmer knowing Sean Payton's tendencies, knowing how to stop Sean Payton and neutralize him in certain ways. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Now, Kevin Stefanski not being with the Vikings anymore, that might be helpful, you know what I'm saying, if the Saints, were to play the Vikings. But I just feel like the Saints don't match up well against the Vikings. I just don't, Like, the Vikings are a really good football team, especially when they play the Saints. And I feel like with the Baltimore Ravens, the Tennessee Titans is just one of those teams, man. They're an old school smash mouth team. They run the football to set up the play action. You know what I'm saying? To push the ball down the field. That's some 1992 football right there. You know what I'm saying? That's some Roger Craig type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, Roger Craig was out there, run the ball with him, catch out of backfield, setting up that play action, like they just one of those teams, man. Them in a Kansas City Chiefs. For some apparent reason, Baltimore just have a problem with them. Who that TJ and my Who That family? What's going on, Herman? And shouts out to you, man, out there in Italy. Gabrielle says, I just hope we don't play in the rain or the cold. Well, I don't think the Saints should have an issue with that. They played in the cold out there in Chicago. They played in the cold out there in Cincinnati a couple years ago. They're going to be playing in the cold in Denver. It's going to be cold in Denver. I don't know if it's going to snow or not, but look, man, good teams travel. Okay, good teams travel. They can play on the moon. They can play on Earth. They can play on Pluto. It don't matter. If you're a good team, if you're that squad, it shouldn't matter. I mean, I don't want to be like one of them teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I got to make excuses. Well, wait till we get some warm weather. Wait till we get the footballs down pat. Wait till the buff guy buff all the, buff the footballs right. Put the scratches in there so they can throw the ball down the field. Wait till the towel boy put a towel in Tom Brady's pocket so he can wipe his hands off and keep them dry. Man, knock it off. Like, man, let's not be one of those teams, man. Look, if the Saints are that squad and we believe they are, if we feel like the Saints have turned the corner and it looks like they are starting to, then look, I don't want to make excuses. Bring on anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, bring them on. If the Saints that squad, if we got confidence in our team, then bring them on. Kevin says, I feel that we want whoever. Exactly. Dr. Drew said, hell yeah. It's just the truth, folks. You can't duck folk, man. You can't. Like, if the Saints are going to be the best team in the NFC, you gotta play the best teams in the NFC. what Ric Flair say, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. It's the truth. If you want to be that team, if you want to be that squad, if you want to be, because if we're watching the Los Angeles Rams, right? We're watching them and they're playing really well. It's only a matter of time before we're on a collision course with them. If Seattle goes out there and they play, it's only a matter of time before we're on a collision course with them. So bring them on. Yo, TJ, what do you think about the Steelers being 10-0? They look dominant on defense and offense. Ramsey, I see a lot of chinks in the armor of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Are they playing good defensively? Absolutely. They're getting turnovers. TJ Watt, is looking really good. One of the top 5 in sacks this season. But I think they're a good football team. I think they're improved, but they also are benefiting off almost similar to a last place schedule. You know what I'm saying? Like, they weren't that good last year because Big Ben was out for the entire season. And we know, like, when you're a first place team, you play a first place schedule. So that's the reason why the Saints, end up playing teams like the 49ers and stuff like that. They're playing division champions. But when you start to lose, like, it kind of, you start playing like teams that, middle of the road, bottom of the barrel. So I think they're benefiting from that. And they always have been good. It was just the fact Big Ben wasn't there. Do I think they can run the table? Looking at their schedule, it's possible. But the more you play, the more you look like you're going undefeated, you get even the worst team's best shot because they want to be that team to knock you off. But I think they are good defensively. Do I feel like they're the best team in the AFC? I do not. I feel like if I had to make a choice, to me, I feel like the Tennessee Titans are the best team in that AFC. I know that Indianapolis Colts, they look good. They beat them last time. But I don't trust Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is a turnover waiting to happen. I feel like the defense of the Colts has improved. I like Frank Reich as a coach. But I think Tennessee, the formula, like a good running game travels, especially in the playoffs. And when you have, one of the best running backs in football and a guy that's a tank in Derrick Henry, how can you not pick the Tennessee Titans? Notice I didn't say the Kansas City Chiefs because I don't think Kansas City that good either. I don't think they're that good. When Ric Flair speaks, I listen. Yeah, man. I think everybody listen to Ric Flair. The reason why our defense playing so great is because they are playing more aggressively. Ice Cream Man, that you're telling the truth on that, and that's one of the things that really bothers me about this team. I feel like I don't feel like your back have to be against the wall for you to play your best. Okay, I mean it just upsets you, like, when you know that this team is capable of being this good, and it has to take your Hall of Fame quarterback to go out in order for you to rise to the occasion. It takes everybody picking Tampa for you to rise to the occasion. I must say, Who Dat Nation, I'm a little nervous about this Denver Broncos game because, Vic Fangio is a really good defensive-minded coach, arguably the best defensive coordinator in football. Okay, when he was with the Chicago Bears, man, he had them boys rolling. Okay, and then he ended up getting a head coaching job in Denver. Now, the Denver Broncos, I know their record don't indicate that they're a good football team, but they did beat the Miami Dolphins team that was pretty good, man. And Miami was rolling, getting turnovers. Special teams was on point. Tua seemed like he was coming on, which, while we talking about Miami, I really don't understand why you're going to bench Tua. Like, you bench Ryan Fitzpatrick for him. Trust your young quarterback, okay? I mean, all you're doing is, like, destroying his confidence by taking him out of the game. But anyway, man, the Denver Broncos, they're going to be a tough out. Vic Fangio is going to have a defensive game plan for Taysom Hill. There's a couple things about this game that bothers me, and there's some things about this game that, puts my mind at ease. Number one, I feel like we got the best kicker in football. Somebody said Young Wei Koo is the best field goal kicker in football, which, it was around about 2:33 o'clock in the morning when this happened. So I assume some alcoholic beverages were close in the vicinity for him to write something like that. But I feel like Will Lutz is the best kicker in football. Okay, him and Justin Tucker, like right there. Okay, like it depends on what what I'm saying, your type or what you like. You know what I'm saying, but they like 1 and 1A. Will Lutz in this game, I feel like if the Saints had to kick a big field goal, I'll put him out there. Like, I don't know if people understand like science and gravity and all that kind of stuff, but if you're kicking a ball out there in Denver, the ball, like, you know what I'm saying, like really, you know what I'm saying, floats, you know what I'm saying, like the ball, there's very little air pressure out there, right? So let's just say, for example, if you're a punter and your max is, I don't know, 50-something yards, well, add another 10 to that, you know what I'm saying? So you're probably going to be banging a ball about 64 yards, so it gives you an advantage, you know what I'm saying? It gives you an advantage as a punter, and it gives you an advantage as a kicker. So if it came down to it, and if it's a defensive battle, Drew Lock can't get the job done, Taysom Hill struggling, what have you, and it's a defensive lock, and it's up to the Saints to come out there, try out Will Lutz for a 56 or 57-yard field goal. I trust that, you know what I'm saying? So that's like one of the advantages. Now, the disadvantage, of course, is being that high above sea level. You know what I'm saying? Like most teams that travel to play, to Denver to play games, they got to bring oxygen and stuff like that because, you're in a mountain. So, that's an issue. And, every time the Saints go out there the mile high, it always end up, there's always some weird stuff go down. Every time they play the Denver Broncos, the Saints just do uncharacteristic stuff. Like, for example, like, I think the last time the Saints played Denver, I think, that was that game where, Will Lutz's punt got blocked and the guy ran down the sidelines. That was in the Superdome. But it was just weird stuff like that. Will Lutz was missing field goals. Michael Thomas fumbled the ball about 2 or 3 times. It's just weird, man, but the Saints got to be ready, man. That's one of those games that really bothers me, that really bothers me. But us having a good special teams and us having the best field goal kicker, I feel like that's going to be beneficial in this game. It's very rare that when a guy talks about keys to victory, it involves a field goal kicker. But in this case, I feel like it's going to be Will Lutz. Will Lutz going to be that key to victory for us because look, Denver has a bend but don't break defense, and they can get turnovers. And we all know, as much as we love Taysom Hill, man, he has fumbled the ball 6 times this season and lost 3. Okay, so that's not good. All right, ball security is an issue. You're not gonna always get lucky throwing them ducks down the field. So you might have to rely on your defense to step up. And it might end up being a defensive battle. I hope, Taysom Hill elevates his game from week 1 to week 2 of being a starter. But you never know. Got to be ready. TJ, I'm not sold on the Steelers either. Question, who are your NFC and AFC favorites, your team who's going to be a tough out in both conferences, and your sleeper teams in both conferences? Well, best team in NFC without question to me right now are the New Orleans Saints. Okay, New Orleans Saints are the best team in NFC to me, followed by the Los Angeles Rams, followed by the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks secondary bothers me. It has absolutely nothing to do with their offensive weapons. Not at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got DK Metcalf out there. You know what I'm saying? You got Carson and all them other cats. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have the talent, but defensively, which is crazy because, their bread and butter over the years has been their defense. And with the Rams, I just think they have stability. I think they have stability. I think they have 2 running backs that can get the job done. They got a good play caller, and they got good complementary football going on out there. And as far as the AFC is concerned, I feel like the Tennessee Titans are the best team in the AFC. I feel like they have what it takes. They can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are second, followed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the sleeper in the AFC, I start with them. The sleeper in the AFC to me are the Cleveland Browns. I know it's funny that I'm saying this, but if the Browns can somehow get into the playoffs, they got the running game to get the job done. And we seen this last season. We seen this last season that a team ran their way to the AFC Championship with the with the Tennessee Titans. We saw this. We saw this happen. And, like Tennessee Titans look good at the beginning of the game. And, of course, Kansas City kind of flexed their muscle a little bit. But, I think that if Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, which people don't really talk about, it's not like this dude like had an injury or something like that. He got into a little issue, lied to the Chiefs, and they end up cutting him. But this guy was the same guy people were talking about who was the rookie of the year, Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt. So they got a good two-headed monster out there. And as long as Baker Mayfield don't turn the ball over and they run the football, I think they could be a sleeper, And I think with the unfortunate loss of Odell Beckham, it actually made the team a little bit better because now Baker don't have to worry about forcing the ball to Odell and Jarvis to keep them both happy. And, so I think the Cleveland Browns. And as far as the NFC, my sleeper is the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray, he's getting better every single week. His ability to scramble outside the pocket, a little bit of RPO game, and not to mention DeAndre Hopkins out there. And then you have the ageless Larry Fitzgerald. You got a young, hungry defense led by Budda Baker and crew. Isaiah Simmons is looking really good. So I would say that the Arizona Cardinals, man, the NFC West is the best division in football right now if we're talking about, relevant teams. So those are my picks. The 49ers just wanted to get rid of Quan's contract. Yeah, I agree with that, man. You got all that talent on the team. So you got Warner, you got, Bosa, I don't know, Solomon. I don't know if you got Solomon Thomas paid or not. I have to look at their contract issues. But I really feel like they're trying to start over a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I think Jimmy Garoppolo eventually is going to end up being cut by him. I think they're going to end up going in another direction at quarterback. I think that they have some players on that team they feel like they want to pay. And, and also, man, just the linebacker corps, man, the young linebackers that they had, they feel like Quan was expendable, And so, I appreciate that, you know what I'm saying? Like, because he's playing outstanding right now. And now that's freeing up DeMario Davis. And now look at DeMario, man. DeMario is playing out his mind right now because now he has somebody he can count on to be where they need to be. So we appreciate that. And if I was the Saints, I know that the San Francisco 49ers cut Kiko Alonso. I sign Kiko back. I would. You know what I'm saying? Kiko Alonso is not bad. You know what I'm saying? The only issue was he can't stay healthy. But it's not like you can't put him in different packages. You know what I'm saying? He can't be, I hate to say it, folks, but if I had to choose between Kiko Alonso and Alex Anzalone, I'm going with Kiko, They both have a history of being hurt, being injured, so I definitely roll and sign Kiko again. I definitely would do that. No NFC East teams, TJ? No, Charles. No NFC East teams. None, not at all. Murray is a dog. Yeah, I agree with that. I seen somebody say the Buffalo Bills. I'm trying to find that. I want to give the person credit because I wanted to address that. I apologize. I seen somebody say the Buffalo Bills are definitely a sleeper. The Buffalo, yeah, here we go. Jamal. Shouts out to Jamal. Two up and down to me. Josh Allen at the beginning of the season, everybody was talking about he was an MVP candidate, and then all of a sudden it was like, man, who the heck is this? I feel like they definitely got a number one receiver in Stephon Diggs, arguably one of the best route runners in football. I think that the defense, Sean McDermott, we know what he did for the Carolina Panthers during their Super Bowl run. I'm not concerned about their defense. I definitely feel like they're going to win the East this year. But I don't trust Josh Allen in situations, man, for him to make the right decision. He's gotten better since the last time we saw him in that wild card game versus the Houston Texans, but they had no business losing that game to me. And I don't too much watch Josh Allen in the first 3 quarters of a game. I'm more interested to see how he does down the stretch. What type of decisions are you making? Like when it's money time, when a game is on the line, chips on the table, how are you going to perform? And I have to say, folks, I have not been impressed. I have not been impressed at what I saw. Now, the arm talent, outstanding. Guy has a cannon. His ability to scramble outside the pocket, his ability to move around, I mean, top notch. His ability to throw on the run, really good. But he has all the talent in the world, but it's about what's between the ears, like in crunch time, and I think that's going to hold those. I think that's holding him back from me picking the Bills as a sleeper team. I mean, but look, I'm so happy for the Buffalo Bills fan base because Lord knows, man, they need a shot of a shot of adrenaline, happiness, you know what I'm saying, something going on out there, man, because there's been some rough years, man, and now that the New England Patriots don't have the stranglehold on the division anymore, maybe that division can actually grow, I'd like to resign Kiko. Me too. Like I said, I would definitely put him in a rotation. He definitely is good at stopping a run, and his ability to break down defenses and see the hole and be where he needs to be, that has never been in question. That nickel package is stupid. The Saints have. I disagree. I disagree with that. I feel like the nickel package of the Saints is much, is really good, like compared to some other teams. But where the Saints go wrong is, man, I don't know, man, having Marcus Williams out midfield. I'm glad they got rid of that. Okay. Look, midfield is like for the early Earl Thomas, the Ed Reeds, the Troy Palomalus. Okay. Look, I like Marcus Williams. Marcus Williams went to the University of Utah. I think he had a 4.0 grade point average coming out of school. He's a smart guy, but he doesn't always make the right decisions. And I feel like when the Saints kind of freed that up, I think that kind of helped them out. Now you're seeing a lot of cover zero. You know what I'm saying? Like you're seeing a lot of zero coverage out there. You're seeing a lot of man-to-man coverage. You see a lot of cover two. You see a lot of like CJ Gardner-Johnson, you know what I'm saying, like doing a lot of stunting out there. You know what I'm saying? Like you see a lot of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like you see him coming off the blitz. You see him like in nickel packages and stuff like that. They're moving him around. And I like that, you know what I'm saying? Because, CJ Gardner-Johnson, like he gonna get home. You know what I'm saying? Like he gonna get home, he gonna get to the quarterback, he gonna disrupt them somehow. So I like what they're doing defensively now. And I just think that middle of the field stuff, that Seattle Seahawks defense they were playing early in the season, thank God they ain't doing that no more. Okay, Ralph says stupid means good. Okay, got you. Okay, man, you're taking me back to 1991 with that. When Will Smith on Fresh Prince saying stupid, man, that's stupid. Okay, I got you now, man. I ain't understand. I thought you were talking about stupid, like, didn't make sense. Man, what's going on with Thomas M? He doesn't seem to be punting the same. Talking about Thomas Morstead. Well, I mean, Father Time is undefeated. I mean, he's been in the league for 12 years. And I mean, the Saints don't really punt that much, so he ain't getting that much practice out there. But I think he'll be okay, man. I mean, he do good, all things considered. I mean, he did good last Sunday. He put Atlanta down at the goal line a couple times. So I think he did a good job. Watch a little bit of the Falcon Nation mad. Well, man, let them be mad, okay? Falcons need to be mad at themselves for believing that their team actually had a chance this season. I said it, man. I don't know if anybody like saw me say it, but I said when I was doing prediction, I said they was gonna be at the bottom of the division. I said it because I was like, man, long as they had that GM, long as they had that GM, I ain't so much was worried about Dan Quinn. It's the GM. It's him whiffing on draft picks. It's him making bad decisions. And honestly, the only reason why he stayed the GM so long because of nepotism. I think his dad was like the GM of the Redskins back in the day. Now I know they're the football team now, but at the time they were the Redskins. And I just think that nepotism played a huge role in him actually keeping that job for long, because I mean, he has been pulling this team down. And like I said, I just hope and I pray and I wish that they don't pick up the phone, call Metairie, Louisiana, and sign Jeff Ireland as their next GM. That would hurt my heart, because Jeff Ireland is the secret weapon. Okay, it ain't Mickey Loomis. It ain't Mickey Loomis, folks. People like Mickey Loomis has done a great job. Mickey Loomis has been here just as long as Sean Payton. And can I interest y'all in some of the draft whips they done had over the years? And then all of a sudden, when Jeff Ireland becomes like the head of scouting and the assistant GM, all of a sudden, like the team just started getting really good draft picks. I mean, did Mickey Loomis go to a great sorcerer or something like that? Gave him the power to see into the future? Or could it be that Jeff Ireland is just that good? Okay, and maybe the assistant manager is making the store manager look good. So I hope they don't make that phone call, because I would miss Jeff Ireland. I would rather see Mickey Loomis leave before Jeff Ireland. That's just the truth. That is just the truth, folks. If Jeff Ireland leaves here and goes somewhere else, and now people are figuring that out now, because when I think somebody put this on Twitter, they showed like the 2017 draft, and they showed like all the accolades of those draft picks. I think if somebody see that and they be like, wait a minute, man, who's the head of scouting? Who's that guy? Oh, Jeff Ireland? Oh, he's the assistant GM? Let's call this guy up. So it's going to be rough, man. Like, it's going to be hard to keep Jeff Ireland. It's going to be hard, especially now you can't block teams from talking to personnel anymore. It's going to be a sad day. It's going to be a sad day watching the Atlanta Falcons actually get good, because Jeff Ireland going to be, man, giving them good draft picks. But I'll be happy for him, though, because he deserves it. TJ, do you consider the Raiders a sleeper? No, I don't consider the Raiders a sleeper, because the Raiders are the only team that beat the Kansas City Chiefs this year. And if Patrick Mahomes wasn't Patrick Mahomes, they would have beat them twice. I think that Derek Carr is doing an outstanding job. I think that people need to put some respect on that man's name. I think that the Raiders are going to be a force in the future. I think that they're going to be a really good football team. I think offensively they do really well. I think they're pretty young on defense. I think their defense needs to grow a little bit more. But if those guys can stay together, it almost can be kind of like how the Saints secondary was when Lattimore and Williams and all them boys got here. You know what I'm saying? They had to learn together in order for them to get better. So I like Jonathan Abrams. I think that I think he's really good. He has a lot of heart. He plays a little rough. It reminds me of a modern day Bob Sanders, because he really puts his body on the line. That kind of concerns me. But he's going to have a C on his chest eventually. They have a lot of good players on the Raiders team, so they definitely aren't a sleeper to me. They didn't become a sleeper after the Saints got whooped on them. You know what I'm saying? After they toast the Saints. You know what I'm saying? I got to be real with you. After they showed me that one player can destroy them, and it was nothing the Saints could do about it. Like Darren Waller, you didn't have an answer for one dude that was killing you. Like that showed me right there. And then after they beat Kansas City, they definitely not a sleeper to me. They here. Trey Hendrickson is the defensive player of the year. I have to look around the league. He's definitely a defensive player of the year in the Saints locker room. So, I mean, I don't know what other guys are doing, but who knows, man? I've seen stranger things happen. I've seen stranger things happen. TJ, you're absolutely right. I'm not sure what I'm right about, Dr. Drew. You use Tampa excuse with the Saints. COVID set us back 6 weeks. We have gotten better week after week. I don't see us losing unless Taysom does a 180. I do believe he will, hope he only gets better. You said I used the Tampa excuse with the Saints. COVID set us back 6 weeks. I said COVID set us back 6 weeks. I said that. Man, somebody fact check. I don't know if I said that. I did say COVID-19 plays a role. It did. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to conditioning and stuff like that. But was I sitting up here making excuses every time the Saints have a shortcoming? Absolutely not. I mean, that the COVID, you know what I'm saying? COVID set a lot of guys back. That's a fact. You can't work out. You can't work on your conditioning. You're not in a team facility, all that kind of stuff. But after a couple weeks, like at least like these are professionals we talking about here. You know? So I don't know. If I said that, then I don't know, man. I may need to go back into the archives and look at that, see what and put that in context. We cannot let Trey Hendrickson go, who that nation. Rankins might be the odd man out. I agree with that. Oh, okay. All right. He says that's what I mean as you can say COVID set us back. Yeah, I mean, set a lot of people back. Set a lot of people back. Set you back. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even playing football, you know? A lot of people, felt that way. But at the same time, I mean, other teams had to adjust too. Kansas City had to adjust. Tennessee had to adjust. So I'm gonna read a few more and then we're gonna get up out of here. Jamal says Mickey Loomis up to presidents of operations and put Ireland at GM. Yeah, I don't mind that. Falcons was talking about we really didn't play all that great. Just take y'all L. Well, I mean that's how you lose, right? You lose. Why? Because you don't play great. I mean I don't know, man. That's like me saying, I got I didn't study for a test. I got this answer wrong. I got the answer wrong because I didn't study for the test. I got the answer wrong because I didn't know the answer to the question. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't play good because, I mean, that's why you lost. I mean, that's crazy. Like, we didn't play well. That's like when you put that into like when you really think about that, that's the craziest thing in the world, right? Man, why did we lose? Because we didn't play well. That's pretty obvious, right? If you would have played well, you would have won. Or more, you know what I'm saying? More well than the other team. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Look, they can make all the excuses they want, man. It's still not gonna stop. It's still not gonna stop the fact they lost. TJ, we need to give Lattimore a pay bump, but Trey must be a signed man. Well, Lattimore gonna get paid. He's been improving, man, and been playing outstanding over these last couple weeks. I know he was hurt last week, which Saints didn't seem like they missed him. But man, when he's motivated to play, he's like one of the top 5 corners in the league. But you got to put emphasis on the word ready to play. Ghostface says, great show, TJ. Hope everyone has a legendary day. That Quan Alexander right there, legendary day. Who that from Western Washington, man. Shouts out to you, man. Shouts out to you. Thank you for being a part of the show. And we're going to finish it up with King Arthur says, TJ, it seems like 2 safety high is giving a D-line plenty of time to be effective. Well, when you have 2 safeties, one is a seasoned veteran that seems like he's learning the playbook better. And when you have Marcus Williams, man, man. I mean, we can't really talk about Marcus Williams now. You know what I'm saying? Marcus Williams been playing really well as well. So I think it was the way that they changed things up and how they just simplified the defense has done wonders for this team. And it just shows you, man, you ain't got to come up with all these exotic blitzes and all this crazy, all these crazy stunts and you know what I'm saying, and exotic packages. Like, just simplify it, trust your players, and allow them to go out there and be themselves. Allow them to go out there and run wild and free. I feel like, with C.J. Gardner-Johnson is reminding me of I don't want to put him in his I don't want to say he's here yet, but he's like Tyrann Mathieu, you know what I'm saying? Like a younger version of Tyrann Mathieu. How Tyrann Mathieu was at LSU, like how he was just all over the field. Like LSU used to send him on a blitz. LSU used to like have him out there like lined up at a linebacker position. Used to have him lined up at nickel. that's who he reminds me of. Now, I gotta say, I gotta say this about C.J. Gardner-Johnson, man, and I hope this improves before they play a game that really means something. But he's gonna have to turn his head around, man. He got to turn his head around. He got lucky last week against that tight end when Matt Ryan threw the tight end the ball, and he got his hand in there just in time. And it probably had something to do. Anybody ever played like defense, safety, cornerback? You already know what I'm gonna say with this. When you get beat, when you get beat by a receiver, there's one thing that you look at, right? If your back is turned, what do you look at? If a guy has a visor on, it's like the biggest advantage. It's like the biggest advantage in the world, right? If a guy has on a visor, you can actually see the ball coming, and you can kind of like dictate it. Or if a guy has like weird eyes or something like that, because when a guy about to catch the ball, your eyes get like about big as saucers. You know what I'm saying? So if a guy eyes start getting big, you kind of know that the ball is coming. You know what I'm saying? But he's going to have to turn his head around, long story short. I feel like that's the only thing that's holding him back. If he can actually turn his head around, because he has good hands and he has like good return skills as well. If he can turn his head around the way that he's playing right now, I think that he'll be okay. Kevin says a poor man Troy Polamalu. No, I ain't even going there. He ain't even on that level. I'm saying Tyrann Mathieu, because Tyrann Mathieu is not Troy Polamalu. He's not Earl Thomas. Like, he's like a couple notches below Tyrann Mathieu to me. I won't give him Troy Polamalu. That's legendary stuff right there. But thank you all very much for being a part of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all for being a part of the show. I'm going to get my final thoughts, then we're going to get up out of here. Week 11, the Saints dominated the game, against the Atlanta Falcons. I'm glad to see what we saw versus the Falcons. I like how the defense stepped up. Quan Alexander has been a godsend to this team. I feel like if they continue to be on the path, him and Demario Davis, they're on a trajectory to be one of the best linebacking corps in football. The secondary played outstanding. Janoris Jenkins, if he plays like that every week, God help the team to have to go up against the Saints, because you have Lattimore on the other side and you have two shutdown corners on each side. That can be something special. And I like the fact that the team is playing for one another. Going up in this game against the Denver Broncos, I'm looking to see if this team can actually capitalize on, the success they had last week. They're not reading the press clippings. They're able to, be able to capitalize on this loss that Tampa had, to be able to push themselves a little bit further and just continue to be aggressive, man. Find ways to win. I'm looking for Taysom Hill to be able to make, decisions, better passes down the field. I'm looking for the running game to step up in this game. I don't know what the weather is going to be like, but I think Latavius Murray can run the football really well. If Alvin Kamara, if you're limiting his snaps right now, get Latavius Murray involved in the game. I'm looking to see if Adam Troutman can step up and maybe get more targets to him. Michael Thomas had 104 yards last week. I'm looking to see if him and Taysom Hill are on the same page as far as the release of Taysom Hill's passes. Seemed like he had to adjust to Taysom Hill passes, a couple of times. Maybe he wasn't ready for it. Maybe it was a little bit different from Drew Brees' passes. And I'm also looking for the special teams to step it back up, man. I mean, the Falcons, they did a really good job on special teams. I'll give them that. Nothing about the same special team was spectacular last week. Will Lutz missed the field goal. I'm used to at least the New Orleans Saints getting to the 25-yard line. I mean, it was starting at the 20 and the 19. I don't want to see that, man. So hopefully the special teams can step it up. Hopefully the defense can capitalize. And I'm looking forward to it, man. No doubt about it. It's going to be a very interesting game. Week 12, Saints versus Denver Broncos. And I'll keep you all informed on any news, injuries, reports, or anything like that involving the New Orleans Saints. And, of course, I'll be talking to you later on in the week about the matchup versus the Denver Broncos. But please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints Podcast, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints Podcast, and previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Anchor FM. And I'm on social media. You can follow me on Twitter at State of Saints. That's at State of Saints. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?